to KEVID19. This is the KEVID19 Show. If jokes could kill, I'd tell them. But that doesn't make me a murderer, okay? Welcome. This is episode 6, aka Trump gets his ass kicked. Yeah. Booyah. About to pop off. Welcome. 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 I'm going to be on Facebook Live just for a little bit here tonight. If you're on Facebook Live, join me. I'm here. I'm not afraid. Yo, the KEVID19 Show is about to pop off. We are going to begin. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. What is good in your neighborhood? Nothing? It's raining here. I'm in New York City, as you can see. I mean, that's the city basically behind me. I want to just jump into some memes. It's probably only going to be one main meme today. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you could jump in. You can comment with me. I'm here. Don't throw a monkey wrench into the whole thing, but you're welcome. You're welcome to join. And I am going to do a call-in soon. So I believe, and I haven't done this before, but I'm open-minded about it. I can conference you in on Facebook. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, let me know. Now, we got a fun one here. Let's just see if I can find the delight. Now, Donald Trump has gotten his ass kicked. We're looking here at, this is a video I discovered. This is actually from August of this year, but I believe this is from a parade. I don't know where this is. I think it might be in uptown Manhattan, but I'm not sure. Let's just take a peek at this. I just thought this was delightful. That's what I'm talking about. Like I said, Donald Trump got his ass kicked. Whoa, it's a pylon. It's a beautiful moment, really, when the entire family provides the comeuppance to this guy. If you're not familiar with the term comeuppance, then we don't want to watch that. We're gonna have to stop that. If you're not familiar with the term comeuppance, watch the movie The Magnificent Ambersons. There's a very long answer to that question. But, yeah, they drive it home in that one. I have a world of delight for you today. It rained in New York, which I think I mentioned that at the top of the hour, but it's one of those things that is... it's always relieving when the rain, it changes the pressure a little bit, the air. I mean, it still feels pretty damn humid. It's nasty, but at least we've gotten something. Yes, the people applaud the rain. Now, some tension was built up yesterday with this apparent joke from Mike Pompeo, and I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but you're going to see it now. You're going to hear it now. Let's take a peek at this comment that he made. This is the Secretary of State. He decided to, I guess, tell a joke, if that's what you would call this.
Currently preparing to engage with the Biden transition team, and if not, at what point does a delay hamper a smooth transition or pose a risk to national security?
there will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration. Right? We're ready. The world is watching what's taking place here. We're going to count all the votes.
No.
The process is complete. There'll be electors selected. There's a process.
No.
The Constitution lays it out pretty clearly. The world should have every confidence that
the world should have every confidence, dude. You've got www.state.gov behind you. Like this is some kind of whack presentation at some conference hall in a rundown, ramshackle, like networking conference. I don't know what's going on here with this whole presentation, man. How is this fun? The only thing I can see this as is self-preservation. I mean, this dude is afraid. I realize that you may not have been able to see this, but now you can see it. This dude is afraid, and if you're listening to the podcast, of course you can't see it, but this opened with Mike Pompeo saying there'll be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration. Bro, no.
transition necessary to make sure that the State Department is functional today, successful today, and successful with the president who's in office on January 20th, mid-afternoon, will also be successful.
You're so afraid of this man.
Voter fraud, that the reports that we're getting from Pennsylvania, from Michigan, showing vote totals in massive leads or significant leads, with 99% reporting, are going to be overturned, and that the United States failed to conduct a fraudulent free election?
Rich, I'm the Secretary of State. I'm getting calls from all across the world.
We know who you are.
These people are watching our election. They understand that we have a legal process. They understand that this takes time. Right?
This guy couldn't dodge a semi-truck if he had about 10 minutes to get out of its way. I mean, what are you doing, dude? Of course, people from all around the world are calling you to find out because they want to know if you're kidding or not. They want to know if it's clear that Donald Trump is going to vacate the office or not. Hey. Wow. It's a weird, sad world that we're living in. It's a sad, sad world. What are we going to do? I don't know. I don't know what this boils down to. Let's give Mike a chance to finish up his statement.
It took us 37 plus days in an election back in 2000. Conducted a successful transition then.
That was 20 years ago.
Very confident that will count.
Okay, check this out. That was 20 years ago. Okay, in 2000, it took them 37 days because there was a major fracas. There was a huge disagreement about how the election was supposed to shake out, and it did end up destabilizing the incoming George W. Bush administration when they sorted the thing out and said, you won by 500 votes, so whatever. And lo and behold, what happened in the beginning of his term, we got nailed by the September 11th attacks. Yeah, that's what happened. 2000 election, 2001, State Department, people like Mike Pompeo weren't really ready. People were distracted. They got a slow start. They weren't paying attention to the outside factors. Now, I'm not saying that that's the sole reason. I mean, nobody knows. People have speculated that maybe that destabilization of this early period might have resulted in distracting people so they weren't paying attention to our terror threats and outside threats because we were paying attention to the interior threats. And that is a perfect situation to create a destabilizing event if you're a terrorist. I'm not giving terrorists ideas here. They know. This is exactly the kind of thing that they love about Donald Trump, is when he delivers these kinds of things on a platter. You know, this is a terrorist gift on a platter.
And and we must count every legal vote. We must make sure that any vote that wasn't lawful ought not be counted. That dilutes your vote. If it's
Dude,
done
don't point. Don't tell me what dilutes my vote. I understand. Okay, I'm not. We get it. You don't have to say every legal vote. Also, you count every vote. If a vote's not legal, you don't count it. You just count every vote.
improperly, got to get that right. When we get it right, we'll get it right. We're in good shape.
Dude, you do not sound like a man who's in good shape. You sound like a terrified man. You sound like a shell of a man who is not doing well. You are a shell of a man who is not doing well. You look like Mike Pompeo. You look like a guy who just shit his pants and is trying to talk his way out of a conversation before the smell emanates. That's what you look like. You look like a guy who just shit his pants and has to ride in the way back of a station wagon. Like you had to get in the, not the trunk, but like the way back, and you're just praying that it's not going to waft forward when the car pulls to a stop. That's what you look like, man. You look like somebody who's really scared about the consequences of your reality right now. And you probably should be, because if you were to show a crack or any weakness, Donald Trump, he's coming for your job, bro. He just kicked out Mark Esper, who is a Secretary of Defense, I believe. I'm talking about destabilizing the U.S. government so terrorists can swoop in and attack us. I mean, this dude, not good. Not good. He's afraid that if he says anything that might hint at the fact that, yeah, there's going to be a fine transition, I'm not going to facilitate Donald Trump's attempt to overthrow our democracy or have a coup, then he knows at that very moment he's going to get kicked out by Donald Trump, will get fired. Boom. Tension is high in Mike Pompeo's heart rate and his blood pressure.
This department frequently sends out statements encouraging free and fair elections abroad.
Yes.
And for the losers of those elections to accept the results. Doesn't President Trump's refusal to concede discredit those efforts?
That's ridiculous. And you know it's ridiculous.
That's funny.
Because it's ridiculous. Look, the truth.
Actually, it's a great question. We encourage these free and fair elections abroad, but if our president doesn't accept our election and refuses to allow the every vote to count, or just refuses to concede, he does look like these dudes in Eastern Europe where protesters, hundreds of thousands, millions of protesters are marching and chanting that their elections are completely fraudulent, have been taken over, manipulated by the government. When there's an election fraud, a little hint here. I mean, I may not be a political science expert, but I would wager that 9 times out of 10, the fraud and the manipulations of an election are done by the ones in power. The government in power is the one that does the most damage. Okay? It's not like we're being, save for outside influences, like when Russia swooped in and interfered in our election in 2016. It's always the government that's in power that oppresses people. Biden is not in power. He's more favored. He's more liked. He was more voted for, and he won an election, but he's not in power yet. And that's why this whole peaceful transfer of power is critical, because if you don't do it peacefully, then what happens? You get potential crack-ups. So I got to throw a pizza in the oven. Let's keep this rocking. Let's just see what else this guy has to say.
You asked the question, yes, ma'am. You asked the question. If you will permit me to answer it. You asked a question that is ridiculous. This department cares deeply to make sure that elections around the world are safe and secure and free and fair, and my officers risk their lives to ensure that happens. They work diligently on that. We often encounter situations where it's not clear about a particular election. We work to uncover facts, we work to do discovery, to learn whether in fact the outcome, the decision that was made reflected the will of the people. That's our responsibility. It's what we try to do along with partners all across the world, along with OSCE inspectors, to make sure that those elections were free and fair. We want every one of those votes to be counted in the same way that we have every expectation that every vote here in the United States will be counted too. It is
Okay,
totally
Mike.
appropriate. The United States has an election system that is laid out deeply in our Constitution.
Okay, Mike.
And we're going to make sure that we get that right. And we have, all of you have, should be committed to making sure that that happens. I think every one of you wants that same outcome. You want every vote to be counted. You want to run the process. We want the law to be imposed in a way that reflects the reality of what took place. And that's what I think we're engaged in here in the United States, and is what we work on every place all across the world. Thank you all.
Every place all across the world, you nervous criminal conspirator trying to steal an election. Wow. Okay, chill out, CNBC. We get it. I am going to stop that. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. It's a scary world that we're in. Now I want to take a moment to wish you a happy Veterans Day. It's time. I hope you had a happy Veterans Day. If you're hearing this and it's not Veterans Day, well, guess what? Okay, that's fine. Look, I know it sucks fighting wars. I know it's hell fighting wars. I'm grateful that I haven't had to do it. I think it's frankly shameful to see our president walking out, touching a wreath, I should say. This dude, this bone spur punk who dodged multiple drafts. Man, every time I see this sort of thing, let's take a peek at this. It just, I'll never forget when Tammy Duckworth called him Private Bone Spurs. He just appears to shit on our military behind their backs, and then he does this sort of thing, and I can't take it as anything other than it's like a kid in a school play. He's like, I will play the respectful, patriotic, troop-loving guy right now, and then afterwards I'm going to go pick my nose. That's what it feels like. All right, we don't have a lot of people. I mean, there's 7,000 people on Facebook, but it could be more. And if you're on Facebook and you're watching this right now, say hi. Jump in the comments. Dive in. Don't be afraid. Now, it's important to honor the veterans, and I heard something interesting today. This was a thing with Biden. I didn't see what he did. Oh, no, okay. I'm not going to watch the other people's news. Associated Press, interestingly, what I wanted to show you here was when they show they present their news. So they have Trump at Arlington Cemetery, and then it jumps to Biden and Jill Biden at the Philadelphia. It was this attended service at the Philadelphia Korean War Memorial. Now, Associated Press is interesting because I like some other organizations. But really uniquely, and that's probably why they report the election results, they tend to present both sides. We used to... Yo, I'm back. We used to have this thing where we had a law about ostensibly about what the news could present and how they had to. It was called the Fairness Doctrine, and it's really the tradition that are like American. When you think of the pillars, the sort of, I guess it's the four pillars. You know, you have the what are the four pillars? You have the government, you have the people, you have the free press. I should know this, but it's just a sign of how iPhones have melted our brains, and that's the excuse that I'm going to make. Let's see here. Whoops, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go here. Four pillars. See if I can find this. Fourth estate, that's what I was thinking about. This is just me Googling in real time. Let's see if we can learn something about this. Wikipedia, godsend. Fourth estate refers to the news media, both an explicit capacity of advocacy and an implicit ability to frame political issues. Right. Now, what are the other estates? Wow. I'd forgotten this, how strangely antiquated these estates were. I mean, we should have known because we're talking about estates, but this is like goofy almost. I can't see. Let me see here. Oh yeah, actually, I went to the wrong New York there. I have to delete that New York. You don't want to have that. Oh wait, no. Let's see now. So, dagnabbit. Here we go. So, the estates are 1, the clergy, 2, the nobility, 3, the commoners, and 4, the press. I mean, these 4 estates. This is coming from a time before we had definitely computers. This is when things were made on a literal letterpress. No wonder they call it the Fourth Estate. Huh. I mean, I don't know about you, but like, I don't think about the clergy, the nobility, and the commoners at all. And I don't know why we still use it as the Fourth Estate. Except in the sense that, I mean, Donald Trump is trying to, he definitely, the Trumps and the Kushners are establishing, or had been attempting to establish, an oligarchy, which I guess you could call that something like a nobility. But yeah, the estates have, all the estates, what is it that all the estates have lost their credibility in our current environment? No wonder people are fawning after this demagogue and this lying garbage hero. So I guess there's some other ideas about these estates, but the notion of the separation of power, into legislative, executive, judicial, and in a way, I guess this sense or definition of the media is sort of like the fourth branch of government as well. Maybe that's one of the things that that they're also referring to, this fourth power. It's different than the fourth estate, but they say the equivalent term, the fourth power, is somewhat uncommon in English, but it's used in many languages. Interesting. Yeah, so having the media to keep the government at bay, and it's precisely to deal with people lying like this dude, like our current president. So let's take a peek here. What do we got? So AP, what they do is it's almost like they're still following the fairness doctrine. They're showing images of Donald Trump, but they're also showing images of Joe Biden, and then they're just showing neutral stuff of the White House. apparently Ivanka Trump was wearing a wreath on her mask or something. I don't know what that is, that floral mask. Here he is. I don't know this commander-in-chief stuff. Like I said, commander-in-chief, as far as I'm concerned. So there are some announcements about Biden's chiefs of staff and how he's dealing with filling out his administration. I don't know what, like how this transition is going to play out. Nobody really knows. It's scary, and it seems like it could potentially destabilize the government just enough for something like a September 11th to happen again if the enemies of the United States are nimble and cunning enough to jump in there, and we're also caught off guard. I would hate for that to happen, but it's possible. Let's hope not. So when it comes to these transitions, one of the things that I noticed or that I learned today was that this is a veteran representative, a veteran. I don't have, what is the guy's name here? I might have written his name down. Paul Rykoff, who said that of the 20 million veterans that we have in the United States, that 800,000 of them were tested, which is like a small fraction if you're looking at 20 million. And it's shameful. And there's been no addressing of it. All the veterans should have been tested for COVID. They were also used as guinea pigs for hydroxychloroquine when they should have been tested for the actual disease. They were given hydroxychloroquine. Insane. Insane that this snake oil garbage was fed. Dude, no, that's not how it's done. Senior care homes were abandoned by the Trump administration. I mean, veteran care homes. There were 76 vets who died in a, what was this, the Holyoke Veterans Home in I believe, New Jersey. And basically what Trump said to them, and what he said to many states is, let the state handle it. This is not the federal government's job. It's a disaster. The federal government swooped in for Katrina. It's not like there's zero care, zero responsibility from the federal government when there's a really countrywide plague. Ugh. Anyway, I got cut off yesterday on our broadcast. Was talking about something that I want to just touch on. 6 billion Earths. Now, there's not 6 billion Earths. You could even begin to say that. But what you could say is that there are a lot of planets. Way more sensibly galaxies than we had originally thought. I'm looking for this quote here. I can't find it, so I'm going to pull it up. Let's see. I don't know if you saw this. The 6 billion number, it comes from... Here we go. Our Milky Way has as many as 400 billion stars. 400 billion stars. 7% of them being G-type. So that's G-unit. I don't know if you're familiar. You probably are. You know G-unit. So there's G-type stars. It's kind of like G-unit. This is said by the University of British Columbia astronomer and study co-author Jamie Matthews, who said that what that means is you get 400 billion stars, 7% of them are G-type. That means that less than 6 billion stars may have Earth-like planets in our galaxy. So I was wrong about there being millions of galaxies. I guess the galaxy is the big container of all of the smaller star clusters. But I think 6 billion stars, I mean, the odds, if they all are capable of having Earth-like planets. Now, Venus, as I was saying yesterday, they found this phosphine gas. There's nothing really else here. Rovers. No, I'm not going to look at this. Yeah, it could. Who knows? Carbon-rich planets made of diamonds may exist. I mean, that would make diamonds actually quite unvaluable, I would think. But yeah, the discovery of phosphine gas it hints at excrement. So there's probably something taking shits on Venus, is what we've learned. And there's, like was said, 400 billion stars that we know of in our galaxy, and 2% of those appear to have an Earth-like planet orbiting them, and that means 6 billion possible Earths out there. So if you're feeling lonely or you want to get out of this situation, maybe if it looks like you lost an election and you're feeling small and you're looking out there and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself now. This sucks. I hate this guy that beat me, and I will fight it in the courts, but if I lose, at least there's 6 billion other stars that appear to have an Earth-like planet orbiting them. Maybe I'll just bounce and explore those. That's what I'm recommending if you're in that situation. I'm not, I don't know anyone off the top, personally, that is, but I'm pretty sure that you know who you are. And if you hear this, thanks for tuning in. It's the KEVID19 podcast. We are, I would go to a commercial break, but I'm going to have to go to a food break to eat. I've got to pull that pizza out of the oven that I put in there. This is how cooking is done. Yeah. I wanted to talk about the trap. But that's our time. Game is over. This has been KEVID19. KEVID19 Show, episode 6. Trump getting his ass kicked. And I hope you saw it. There hasn't been any mention of Antifa. I mean, it would be great if Antifa will kick his ass, but they're not going to, because Antifa is not even a real threat compared to religious terrorism, compared to 57% of attacks come from white supremacists and right-wing extremists when it comes to domestic attacks. So if you're looking out for that sort of thing, look out for the right-wing extremists. The other majority, most of these deaths have been caused by religious terrorism, which is what happened on 9/11. So if you're concerned about Antifa, I think you can relax. Go to, say, Four Seasons Total Landscaping. Check it out. There's a great adult sex store next door, I believe. And you'll throw on a sex hood and you'll forget all about Antifa. I think the sex hoods exist. I've had a good time here. Thank you to the 7,000 people still watching on Facebook. There's a lot to parse out. And we'll get to the trap on the next show. It has to do with the way that racism plays out in this country, in the courts and in people's lives. And I had a great conversation today with somebody who came out of that a really good guy that I made as part of a documentary I made years ago, well over a decade. So we'll talk about that more on the next episode. Thank you for tuning in. It's looking like my schedule is starting to turn into about 8 p.m. on Facebook Live, definitely on Tuesdays, and it's looking like Wednesdays as well. I'm going to post a schedule so you guys know when the show happens. Otherwise, how are you going to catch it? Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your night, the rest of your Veterans Day, and thank you for your service. If you are a veteran, we need you, and we need somebody. We need a president who respects you and doesn't let you die in a veteran's home from hydroxychloroquine. Good night. Do not forget to subscribe at KEVID19.com. Don't drift on that. Get up in there. It's just YouTube. You just hit it, it takes you to YouTube. It's not that complicated.